What's going on, LEGO fans? Welcome back. Alex here. In this video, we're going to be doing a build and review of the newest UCS Star Wars set, the Imperial Star Destroyer. This is set number 75252 with 4,784 pieces and retails for $700. Right next to it, I have the box of the UCS Millennium Falcon, which came out just 2 years prior. This is $800. So these two sets are the most expensive LEGO sets from the LEGO group side by side. We're going to do a little bit of comparison between these two, but what I'd really like to do in this video is give a good consumer report of should you buy the Star Destroyer. Is it worth its $700 price tag? So I bought this with my own money. It was tough. I wasn't actually planning on buying it. I was pacing the floor at my LEGO store, and then I just walked up to the cashier and I said, all right, go ahead and ring it up. And so that being the case, I have it. And since I have it, I will do a review and do my best to do a comparison, not just with the Millennium Falcon, but of course its predecessor from 2002. So what we're going to do first with this thing, we're going to weigh it. I weighed the Millennium Falcon in the box just like it is, so it's going to be an apples-to-apples comparison. So we can see if the weight, which means the material, I guess, is part of the equation here. So let me make sure I got the unit. I have it in pounds and ounces, so I make sure that we have the same comparison here. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. And it is on. It should beep for us. It's still wiggling around. It's thinking. Okay, it beeped. Let's see what we got. Oh. All right, we got 28 pounds, 2.4 ounces. And I remember the Millennium Falcon was 29 pounds, 10.4 ounces. So judging from the weight, we have a 1 pound, 8 ounce difference in favor of the Millennium Falcon, which makes sense. It should be heavier. But that's only a 5% difference in weight in comparison. Now, that's all the materials in there. That's the box, that's the instruction manual, that's all the poly bags, and what's obviously the LEGO itself. And in comparison with the price tag, I think that would be a 12.5% increase from the Star Destroyer to the Millennium Falcon. So far, judging just from the weight alone, this actually looks really good for the Star Destroyer. Here are the instruction manuals side by side, very, very similar as you can imagine with these two enormous sets. I did weigh them. The Millennium Falcon weighed in at 6 pounds and 12 ounces, whereas the Star Destroyer was 6 pounds and 2 ounces, which means a 10-ounce difference in favor of the Millennium Falcon. So we can assume that if the materials, such as the boxes, are identical in weight, which I believe they probably are, that gives the Millennium Falcon, as far as elements go, just 1 pound over the Star Destroyer. So there's some good information for you for what it's worth. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the build now. Got to get all of these boxes out and all those poly bags opened. And for you, this won't take much time at all. But for me, of course, it'll be several hours. But that's okay. That's part of the fun. We'll see you on the other side. And we are back, and here is the Star Destroyer in its completeness here. Very, very big. I think there's only, yeah, that is the word I would use, is big for this thing. And detailed from front to back. This thing's got a lot of great and interesting detail, as much interest as you can make in an all gray colored ship. This took about 11 to 12 hours to complete from start to finish, and that's of course if you have no interruptions. But I do want to talk about a lot of the concerns that people have with this ship and do my best here to kind of give you a very real assessment of this ship, its value, if you should or shouldn't buy this thing. So I do want to talk about the piece count. Yeah, I talked about how heavy it was at the beginning, and I do feel like the overall price tag of $700 makes sense in terms of overall weight of the material. But the piece count of 4,784 pieces might seem relatively small in comparison to the Millennium Falcon. But as I was getting all the pieces out of the poly bags, I noticed that a lot of these pieces, in fact, most of the pieces were huge. In fact, there were 11 of those 16 by 16 plates in it. And those things, each one of them is very expensive because I bought many of those from Pick-a-Brick to construct my Shmu Tower. And as I was building this thing, again, lots of large elements to complete the plating here all along the hull of the ship. My fingers, my thumbs and my fingers were getting sore from pressing these large plates together for this massive hull on this ship. So just know that the piece count is what it is because these pieces on this thing are big. And yeah, there's a lot of small pieces all along here, but that's such a small amount in comparison to the amount of big pieces that you're using all along here on this side and that side, and of course underneath it as well. Interior wise, I'm not really sure how it would work with this particular set because of its dimension, its unique shape. I kind of thought that, well, there's a lot of space in here and here. That's just it's just void. There's nothing in there but air. I thought that maybe that might be a good spot, but then how do you access it? Because this is all on an angle. It's not like on a good even surface like the Millennium Falcon has. So to be fair, I just don't see how that would be possible in this thing without making it significantly larger or putting a lot more pieces into this and making the price tag go up like crazy. So I get it. And you know what? Honestly, let me pan over here to my Millennium Falcon. My Millennium Falcon has not moved. I have never got that thing down once to play with the interior of it. It's a display set. So yeah, it would be cool to have an interior of this thing, but honestly, if it did, I would never use it. It would never be seen. It would just be on display, and that would be the end of that. Next up is minifigures. You get these two guys. That's it. Yeah, not sure why we didn't get a Darth Vader at least, but that's it. I kind of think that's kind of a letdown. I mean, yes, this thing is really, really cool to behold, but dang. Minifigures, come on, Lego, hook us up next time, huh? So take a look at the inside of this thing. I'm going to take these two elements off, or sections right here off. These are intended to come out if you want to move your Star Destroyer. You're supposed to take your hand right here and lift. Notice as I lift, it does a Papa Willy of sorts, so it's definitely not the middle. Oh my goodness, this is so heavy. What I actually do is I'll take my right hand there to get a grip on those elements there and take my left hand underneath the supports right here to support that, and that feels much more secure. So use that tip when you're moving this thing. But anyway, let me move these sections out that do remove. And you're going to notice a lot of colors, and that is something that a lot of people noticed with the designer videos, that there's so many bright colors used with the build of this thing, with those Technic elements on the inside. On the outside, you don't really see them. Actually, you kind of do, and I'll show you where. But I wanted to say something positive about it if I can. When I was building the paneling, these large sections, they get so large in those books, it gets confusing sometimes on where certain pieces go. So there's a pattern that designer follows with these things, with the red, the black, and the blues. And I found it really nice to see that and know exactly where they're supposed to go as you're building those larger sections. Other than that, it's an interesting choice of the colors being used because there's a lot of bright colors. In fact, even these sections that I removed, there's a lot of bright colors in them. I think there's even a hot pink in this smaller section. Yeah, right there at the nose. I thought that was an interesting choice. But let me put this back together and I'll show you what I mean about seeing them on the exterior as well. Seeing colors in this thing right here, I can see blue in the crack. Further up, I can see yellow elements right here. I can also see a lot of blue right here just beneath the surface. at the top here. This is kind of bugging me a lot. There's this red element that you can see in the corner. This could be just a builder error on this, but this doesn't seem to want to stay down. But despite that, this big crack on the back of its head right here, you can see a lot of red and blue. On the back of it here, there's red you can see here and here. And also through this black hole right here, you can see yellow Technic elements if you look closely. This is stuff you're going to see with the naked eye. I'm not sure if the camera is going to see this at all. But I don't see anything along here, which is good. However, if you do angle up or down, again with the naked eye, you're going to detect a lot of white elements showing. So this only bugs me because I'm the builder of it. If somebody were to come into the office and they see this thing, they're not going to see those colors, obviously. They're going to see a very massive gray ship. But just, I don't know. I guess it's a wonder that more aren't actually showing given the amount of colored bricks inside this thing. In the back here, I'm going to take my finger and put a little bit of pressure right here. You'll notice those don't move. Its predecessor, if you push down, it would go like that because it has magnets holding it up. And this does not have magnets at all, thank goodness. This has actual Technic beams as well as ball joints holding it together. So much stronger and more effective. So that is definitely a step up with this model over the one from 2002. All right, kind of an interesting shot here. I am on the floor in this room looking up on this thing, and just look at the overhang on this thing. And that's one thing I want to address is potential droopage with this. But really quick, before we get to that, we got the Tantive IV miniature scale here, and we go in, and I think this is a hidden gem on this thing, this bay right here. Look at that. Look at the detail on that thing. So much fun details. You have that little mini scale TIE fighter in there. A lot of great detail. And I also want to mention that the designer did an awesome job with where the supports go into the ship. They really minimized the gap of Lego elements on where those actually go in. It's hardly even noticeable, and I know it's kind of in the dark there, but I like how they did work on and closing the amount of space in there. Now, in the predecessor here, the set from 2002, this was just a hole. There was nothing in there. You could just see right into the ship. So the fact that they cleaned that up, actually put in all those incredible details under the ship. Most people are not even going to see this awesome detail. So I just definitely wanted to make sure that that was something that was seen in this video. So let's talk about potential droopage with this thing. Now, if you're not familiar with droopage with this particular model, the set from 2002, 10030, the set is very long. And over time, over years, it would droop. The back would droop down, and the front would droop way down, and you have this kind of sad, frowny face of a ship. I mean, it wasn't horrible looking, but it was definitely noticeable by the owners of it. And you'd have to either take it apart and flip the frame, or take the frame apart and rebuild it to get rid of that sad droopage. Now with this one, it's built in such a way that I really feel droopage is going to be minimized. And I say that because when I look inside this thing, let me just take this out of the way really quick here, is you have this main, I'm going to call it the backbone of this thing, and it is built solid. There's a lot of Technic elements in here. And that might be another reason why it has such a high price tag, is this thing is built like a beast. Along that, it has these additional beams up here and down here. So there's these 3 beams going through this thing from front to back that are really holding this thing together very well. So I think, will we see some droopage with this? Maybe a little bit, maybe up here a little bit, but it's going to be nowhere near what we've seen in the previous model. So that is my quick review of the Star Destroyer. I will be doing another comparison between this and the 2002 model in another video coming up here, so stay tuned for that. But I guess I now have to tell you whether to buy or not to buy, and that is the question. I don't know, honestly. Now, this is in my collection now, so I'm a little more biased to say, yes, buy it, it's awesome. And it really is an impressive ship. Now, I would say if you're going to choose between that or the Millennium Falcon, I would say the Millennium Falcon is still the better value, especially to my UK friends who I believe tell me that this is the same cost as the Millennium Falcon. That becomes a no-brainer for me. But if you have the Millennium Falcon, I'm assuming you're a somewhat serious collector, and this is something I think would look fantastic in any Lego Star Wars collection, regardless of if you have the one from 2002, set 10030. I think they're both to have. In fact, let me show you where mine is. It's actually right there in the corner. And it is beautiful. I love that thing. And I'll get that thing down here and do a side-by-side comparison. That's going to be kind of fun here soon. But I don't know. It's hefty price tag. I think my biggest complaint is the minifigures. But that's a small thing. You know, this thing is a display set. I think it's going to be very difficult to display this thing because on so many angles it looks just fantastic. So my thought was to actually get it up on this shelf, and I don't know that there's really any room. I had it up there previously and it looks a little awkward, but we'll figure it out. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this model, the newest UCS Star Destroyer. I believe it's called the Devastator or Devastator. So there you go, with its unbelievably high crew of 2 people. All right, guys, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys again in the very near future. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.